Welcome, zdravím, přátelé. My name is Piotra Zachary. I'm a Vogue Czechoslovakia contributing writer, and I'm very pleased to introduce my fellow esteemed colleague from Slovakia, Eva Sýkorova Čomborové. She's at her home in Bratislava.
Thank you.
And we are happy to review, and we're gonna do it frequently on a regular basis, like once a week, starting from today. New collections by Czech and Slovak designers for upcoming season, which is fall-winter 2020. We've been provided, because of the situation which we absolutely are aware of and we understand, we are all provided by the same digital record of, we had some movies, we had some lookbooks to view. Unfortunately, we couldn't see the real thing, we couldn't touch it, so we are just relying on what we have seen and what was told or written in the press review by designers. But also we are relying on our experiences, because we've been doing that for quite a long time, so you can trust us. We're gonna be fair and we're gonna be funny as well. So we've decided to start in alphabetical order, which means that we are starting with the brand called AIM by Michaely Hriňové, right?
Piotr,
yes.
Can I ask you before we start?
Sure, go ahead.
Because I want to make it a bit gossipy, you know, we're in Vogue,
Yeah.
indeed.
Mm-hmm.
We need to do that. Are we happy or are we not happy?
Of course we are happy, why not?
But I mean with the stuff that's coming up.
The stuff that's coming up, that's the other story.
Are we happy or we're not happy? Tell me.
You know what? 10% of this is promising, which is not a bad result.
Absolutely agree.
The rest is something we need to talk about.
And we will do that. We will do exactly that.
We will do that. And I think it's interesting. There's a lot of potential. There is a lot of opportunity to be bitchy, which I love, honestly speaking.
You're Vogue, after all.
Yeah, of course, we both are. So it's not that bad. I mean, I had a very high expectations because I believe, considering the heritage both Czech Republic and Slovakia have in terms of design, and when I say design, I don't mean just fashion design. I mean architecture. I mean all the other forms of design.
The whole portfolio, yeah.
Yes, I do have the high expectations. So far, I'm not 100% satisfied, but I'm not put off. So I'm waiting for more. I believe that next week is gonna be even more exciting.
I already can't wait to hear what you have to say. But I have one more question, because we're in Vogue. Mm-hmm. What are you wearing, Piotr? Tell us.
This is just casual thing I just dropped on. I just done my dishes in this vintage Master jacket.
It's starting very good. It's starting very good.
Then underneath I had a t-shirt, which is I guess it's American vintage, so it's kind of rubbish. It's I like to do it, you know, high and low. So this is a very casual thing. And of course, I'm wearing something right on time, which is my brand new vest.
I spy with my little eye. What is that?
It's a Novesta trainer, which is called Star something. I don't remember. Honestly, this is to support the Slovak brand, first of all. Second of all,
amazing.
I believe it's a very good quality trainer. This particular model is my favorite. So comparing to the competition, my opinion is a bit underrated yet, but let's cross our finger. The claim is go Novesta, so I'm gonna say go Novesta, go Novesta, you're in the right way. Novesta should have a better, more recognition than it has right now. So we need to support it.
But this is amazing. So we are doing support local, and we're actually wearing support local, because you're wearing your Novestas and you're wearing your Anne. But I have greetings from Boris Hanečka over here because he made this special earring for me. It's called Anna Koronina, and for those who cannot see properly, there's a rail with a Parisian tulle on, like, tied to a bow. And then I'm wearing Zoltan top, which is one of my favorites, and I'm actually going to go out in it later on. And I'm wearing some Leve, J.V. Anderson, one of my favorites, and my shoes. Now listen to this. Yeah. I'm wearing Margiela, and I'm saying Margiela because you actually told me yesterday he's Polish. So this is
Polish. Absolutely.
This is paying respect to Margiela, good fashion, and to you, of course. But,
Eva, don't be modest. Lift your leg and show me. No, I have to see it to believe it.
Oh my God! I don't know if it's gonna be. Yes, there they are.
Perfect.
Replicas.
Perfect. So you're going out today?
Yeah, I'm later on because we are having a long weekend over here. I'm driving to meet my daughter and my husband in the woods. So I'm a bit too dressed up, but I'll have to manage.
Well, we wouldn't have any doubts that you are a fashion person when you arrive in clothes dressed like that.
Thank you.
So
well, anyhow, let's go to business because this is what we're here for. Although I'm sure that the readers and the viewers will be interested in the tiny bits and pieces around it. But as you said, maybe it's better and it's the most fair to go in the alphabetical order because obviously. So what do you think about the first brand, which is AIM, which is AIM by Michaely Hriňové? I had the chance to see them live, and I actually did a review on their collection some time ago. So that would be I honestly am interesting to hear what you have to say about this. I think personally that all the collections we've reviewed so far, and maybe you are free to agree or disagree, have their strong and weak sides. As everything, right? So some of the collections are better, some of them are I'd say less technically advanced, less artistically advanced, but all of them have pluses and minuses. For me personally, Michaely Hriňové is very consistent in what she's doing. She's been doing it for some time, and I see a positive side of her is that she's really consistent. So she knows who she is, she knows what she likes, and she's doing exactly that. I personally like the long silhouettes. I like the long coats. For me, it's a bit repetitive already because, as I said, I've seen it before. So maybe it's better if you talk about it because you had a fresh view on the brand and on the collection. So tell us what you think about the first one.
Okay, so the collection is called Reflection of My Heart. When I realized it's a reflection of her heart, at the beginning, after viewing it, I thought, she might be not a heartless, but her heart is beating in the different rhythm that I would expect from the designer like that. What I like about this collection is the designer is definitely smart enough to play with this limited number of outfits she already has. So she does the video presentation that promised to. It looks like there's a lot to watch when in fact they were looking at 2 or 3 or 4 the same silhouette all over again.
Variations on the same topic, yes.
Yes. So this is kind of it's smart in terms of technical execution of the movie. It's bad for design. It looks like she's not ready yet. But on the other hand, at the beginning of May, so she doesn't have to be ready yet. She probably is in the middle of process. So this is her excuse. Yeah. What is the good part of this collection is a limited number of colors being used. I think that if you are going down with the number of, if your color palette is limited to 3-4 colors that you feel comfortable with, then the final look is at least modest. It's not exaggerated, which is good. I feel like she's trying to combine modern, and this is usually the top, what's going on the top, which is like a uniform top, with something a bit more romantic, a bit more dramatic, which is usually a skirt or
That's what she's saying. There's the feminine side, the witch in her, the femme fatale, the, trying to take it. This is actually, if I can interrupt, one of the elements I like about her, that she's trying to play with her, what she knows. And she knows the best the feminine energy, because she's female herself. So she's playing with this a lot. I mean, in all her collections I've seen so far, she's trying to extract that feminine moment and, you know, translate it in a different scenarios. As you said, her language is a bit dark. Her heart is beating a bit differently than maybe yours or mine. But so far, absolutely, I had the same feelings about the collections as you're saying. So
because I expect more. First of all, I haven't seen her previous collection, so I don't have this point of reference. But unfortunately, I've seen collections like this in other locations worldwide. So there's nothing unique. There's nothing unique about this collection to me. It's not dramatically bad, but I feel like she's not certain where she's heading, and this is the missing.
I know what you mean. I actually think it's a problem of all the collections I've reviewed this week, is that I have a feeling I've seen it before and I've seen it too many times. If I can hit it off right to the next one in the order, which is Pavola Dendise. That's another thing which struck me, because I read the materials as well. I read the press releases, I read the descriptions of the collections by the authors themselves. And what struck me is that he says that he's trying to kind of work with the visual codes for the audience, right? And this is what I always keep saying. If you do it to impress someone, it's not the best way to go about it. For me, the best way to go about any creative process is just to express your inner urges, your inner inspirations, express who you are, express your dark and secret sides, and just put them into the whole creation itself. So to do it to impress someone or to get the codes so they work, for me, this is a bit suspicious right off the bat. Now, I've reviewed Dendise before. I know him personally. What I really like about his pieces is the dark aesthetic, which I like, because I personally am a fan of black clothing, of very minimalistic lines. I mean, if you entered my closet, you'd probably agree that that's the case. So this position of his creations is something that speaks to me, and it's hitting my strings. But on the other side, the collection is called Farmer in the City. I don't see much farmer in there. I see a bit of the folklore that he's used before. I see a lot of tartan, which is not really typical for Czech or Slovakian folklore or culture. It's more about Scotland, Ireland, and England, and that's fine. But for me, I have a feeling with Dendise that he likes to inspire, as he says himself, but he also likes to be inspired, right? I see that with the big sleeves, I see a lot of Holubec and Kubíková, and I see he's over the exposed and overdone sleeves with the denim stuff, which is very typical for Zoltán thought. There's no secret that he said it many times, that his inspiration and his biggest idol is Alexander McQueen. You can see that in the tartans and in the plates, and that's all fine. But for me, if I can just make long story short, it's a big pity, and I really hope that Pavol will start working with this. Don't want to be worldly. Don't want to be. Please do not want to be something that's been already there. We all know he's been born in a very beautiful part of Slovakia, which is called Orava. Very picturesque, full of absolutely beautiful folklore and culture. And honestly, he can dig deeper into his roots and extract so much more out of this. And he has the potential to do this. This is the most important thing I actually want to say. There is a huge potential to extract from it. Just be a bit more of yourself, and allow your really inner side to come out. I think if he continues in this direction, and if he actually reworks the philosophy behind his brand, and he will be less inspired by others, whether they're local and his colleagues, or whether they're people that are outside of our little fashion geography, I think he will do much better. And that's the way to go for him. There's been pieces in the collection, and there are pieces in the collection that I liked and enjoyed, but they're torsoid again. You know, you see an asymmetrical skirt, it doesn't repeat anywhere else. Then you see the plate, which is not really typical for Slovakia. Okay, he says he's been inspired by Walker, but it's a mishmash of exactly the dark aesthetics that's around at the moment, that's in at the moment, the minimalist, the black, the everything. It's something that's typical for him, but I think he can work more with his roots and with his potential that's really there.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't mind if I don't care where the inspiration comes from. I don't feel like he needs to stick to the place of origin. This is not important to me. What I like about Denis' collection, it's strong from, it looks like strong from the tailor point of view. It's a good tailoring. It looks like, or at least he's faking it very, very, very nicely. What I don't like about his collection is all this bullshitting that follows. So we have the pictures with some garments, and then we have a line of text that says minimalism, symbolism. There are a lot of ism involved in it. So why not, just replace it with just one simple bullshitism? Well, I hate when it's somebody trying to over-intellectualize the fashion, right? If you are good in tailoring, if you know your inspiration, if you know what you want to show, you don't need this all blah, blah, blah to make it the highbrow or the high level of IQ. Just don't need it. It's gonna, the less you talk about the fashion you're doing, the more you show. This is the approach I'm looking for. So the collection should speak for itself. It doesn't require any subtext and explanation, that much explanation. So this is the weak part of Denis to me. The strong part is it looks okay in terms of tailoring. And the funny part of it is that in the movie, we have the male model sporting the same clothes as the female model is doing in the lookbook. So it looks like he somehow achieved the unisex collection. But I think it's more in terms of styling than even tailoring or the concept. It's probably, it wasn't intentional, it looks like. So I don't mind. I'm really, this is the brand I would like to follow. I'd like to see and learn more. But at the point, I'm not really excited. I'm sorry.
I absolutely love your sharp eye because you nailed it. His tailoring, because I actually tried his things on. I tried them on a few times. I know that his tailoring is really good. I mean, there's designers that care about how it looks on the photo, but in this case, actually, he's trying to do his best while making the clothes. So when you put the coat on, it really fits nicely. It's done nicely, and when you turn it upside down, there's no discrepancies, I would say. So absolutely agree. Tailoring is very nice, and he actually said that the tailoring is one of his aims in the collection. I also don't see the interconnection of tailoring and farmer. This is also something, but this actually is along the lines with what you had said, that he's trying to over intellectualize the collection. He's trying to make it appear more sophisticated and cool, and then it's actually counterproductive, because if he does it and he just does it and doesn't explain it, he doesn't say farmer and tailoring, and then it doesn't end up looking like this mishmash.
Farmer in the city is a bit dated, because we are not. It's not the 19th century anymore. It doesn't. Come on.
Yeah.
It look really sophisticated, and he's probably wearing the same stuff as a city slickers. So there's no point just to divide into two social groups like it was 19th century. So it's like telling the old story and going back to, I would say, at least middle of the 20th century, if not the 19th century. That's just a missing point. I would like to hear something really referring to the moment right now. I go back to 19th century to read about, to hear about the farmer going to the city, because I'm not buying it, and I don't see this farmer.
I understand. I see your point. Absolutely. I must agree with you, Peter, as mostly always. But that's not the plan. That's not the plan. So they just know that's not the plan.
Oh, I'm pretty sure we're gonna quarrel. We're gonna have a fight today. I can.
But we're having the same optics over here, and as I said, it's a pity because I see a lot of potential there, and I just think and I hope that all the designers that will hear our reviews will understand that we're doing this so they get a, you know, maybe a different perspective on what they're doing, and maybe it will help them move in the right direction. So we're not trying to bash anyone, or, you know, it's really trying to be productive and trying to see it with a different eyes and optic, and trying to really tell them what maybe nobody else will tell them and they need to hear. So let's move on to Denisy Dovalové.
Right, Eva, should we say really openly that we both believe in fashion criticism as a form of dialogue with designers and with audience, right? So
Absolutely.
we're expressing our point of view as a part of the conversation. We want to preferably see the feedback from designers with the upcoming collection. We believe that it might help them to get on the right track because they are heading somewhere. Sometimes they are lost in the middle of the process. We are here to give them a hand. So this is our aim, this is our goal.
Absolutely. And I actually think it's the better case that they're heading somewhere, because as we both know, all of these that we're reviewing are heading somewhere, but there's cases, and maybe we'll bump into one along in the next weeks that are heading nowhere. So let's say that as well. These are heading somewhere. And what about Denisy Dovalové? Where is she heading according to you? She's the next one on our list.
Mm-hmm. And she's starting with the claim, "And the past created you." And honestly, I've been thinking, I have to quote one of my favorite Czech characters ever, which is Kritik. And in situations like that, Kritik would say, "Ach jo." And this is exactly what I like to say.
Ach jo.
I'm just looking at this collection, and I'm totally brainwashed and confused. The thing is, the designer herself, Denisy, is trying to tell us that every single look, every single silhouette is being inspired by one of the turning points in the history of our history. She gave us a list of these dates, quite personal choice, starting from the crucifixion of Jesus till the 2020, which is the COVID-19. And I feel like when you have that many events on your mind and that much history, the brain capacity is already limited. So there is not much left for design process. And this is what we expect here. I mean, it's a very nice, probably over-intellectualized, once again, concept, which turned into something disappointing from the design point of view. I don't know this history. I don't sense the history in what I do from the design point of view. There are some dresses, some corsets, some tops that they have nothing truly in common. They don't express anything. I don't sense this history. I don't sense anything. In fact, I'm really confused. I'm really lost with this collection. If I were that if I would do the written review, I would skip this collection just to because I don't really know what to say apart from Achille.
I understand. I felt the same. I was really hesitant towards my expression towards this collection. The strong, again, is this even possible to agree again with you? But it is possible because it's happening. Yes, the strongest point of the whole collection was this system she had, how to go about it, right? The apocalypse, that's exactly what we're feeling. We're solving it. It's happening. We all feel the pressure of this. We're all dealing with this in our own personal way, trying to think about what's happened in the past and what's gonna wait for us in the future. And the apocalypse, yes, it's a good topic to go about. Maybe she would have done much better if she took just one of these and made the whole collection about it. For example, the falling of the twins or the crucifixion of the Christ which, by the way, Boris Hanečka, who is not presented in this time because his collection was really overexposed because it's really brilliant. It was really brilliant. And his collection was called Vir Dolorum, and it was all about the, clerical, Catholic, the stamp on Catholicism, and even believing in something like Jesus Christ or church or the Christian religion, and kind of how can we connect it with fashion. So there's a lot of ways how to address these topics, but I missed the point there. I mean, the skeleton, the outline was good, but the clothes were not corresponding. They were not mirroring it at all. The asymmetrical skirt just fallen out of the moon right there. Asymmetry is very tricky in fashion. If you do it, you need to do it properly, and it cannot be senseless. If you have an asymmetrical piece in the collections and it's senseless, in a collection and it's senseless and it's pointless. So it's just there to do asymmetrical piece and nothing more. So for me, a lot of elements which were out of the place were not, as I would say, it was a bit of a first plan, the big the structure on the top, then the skirt on the bottom in a column style to kind of juxtapose the top. There's not much to talk about, but I think that the strong point was, as we both agreed, the concept itself. And maybe she should work around this a bit more in the future. Also, I have a pretty sharp eye, and the things did not see like they didn't appear bad quality or shabbily done. They appeared like the materials were nice. The silk was silk. It was nicely, processed. The fabric was nicely sewn together. And this is something she should actually work with, along with the concepts. But otherwise, yes.
Yes, but as you said, if you just pick up one date, and there is one very promising, which is a very close reference to what we are experiencing right now. On her list is 1981, which is the beginning of AIDS epidemic,
yes.
Which is exactly the great thing for collection. You
yes.
can say a lot. You can show all the references. You can show
absolutely the culture that was the culture, the subcultures, 80s, Buffalo stands. I just wrote about it. It was a huge, and actually the people involved in Buffalo movement, they were quite affected by the epidemic, because most of them died later on in the years that followed. So absolutely on point again, Peter. Yes, I agree.
So we cross our fingers for Denise, I hope, right? Because we don't want to.
Absolutely.
Next season, definitely coming back with something strong, with something which is, it doesn't need any explanation. Just when the clothes speak for themselves and the message is clear and it's not confusing. So at the moment, this is the ahio. This is the final compromise.
I need to adopt this in my vocabulary. Ahio.
Ahio.
Thank you. Thank you once again.
Critic was my idol for, I don't want to say for how long, but I love Critic. Here's my, Critic is also a great inspiration. I would do collection started by Critic. Critic was, he was a fashion guy, definitely. There are a lot of cartoon creators who could be like, in Czech and Slovak cartoons, could be really like inspiration. But let's move on to, who do we have next? We have
Jan Černý.
No, Johnny Black.
Johnny Black. Here we go.
If
you
I
start or I
honest, do you want me to start?
Yes, please.
Okay. But to be honest, to me, this is the highlight of the week. He showed his, I like the show. The guy definitely knows how to put the show. He did a very good job in terms of how to create the fashion show, how to use the money that comes from the sponsor wisely to come up with something which is attention grabbing and engaging for 10 up to 15 minutes when you sit in the front of your computer, of your laptop, or your mobile phone, which is very well done. It's fantastic. Then I know that Jan Černý used to work with the concept, and he's done a lot of uniforms before, and he's coming back and he's sticking to this, which is not bad. What I sense that Jan Černý this collection is like a zeitgeist collection, and the zeitgeist currently is still the streetwear. Hopefully, it's gonna change because I have already overdosed streetwear, or at least this kind
we
of.
all do.
But what Jan is doing actually, he's trying to. He's testing new territories. So you have some, there's a part when he's trying to incorporate evening wear, like tuxedo jackets and proper DJ jacket with shorts. There's a part of this collection which is pretty interesting. There is, at the very beginning, there's this life jacket. Miss, what's wrong with your earring? Is it too heavy?
It's just the kind of trying to grab my attention too much, so I have to put the Anna Koronina away.
Okay. So I like.
She's not behaving.
I love this what Jan did with this life jacket, life vest, right? And which is partly also the terrorist vest, the terrorist belt with bottles. I feel like the guy is smart. We know he was trained for half a year recently by Virgil Abloh. That was something that I was kind of scared of the result, because I thought this guy might be infected, right? Another one infected by Virgil. Hopefully not. I feel like out of this cooperation we had, Virgil is gonna benefit more than Jan has already. Also, Jan is very good in taking credits. So we see a lot of his name all over the clothes, praised strategically. He's also good in collaboration, which is not bad either. So definitely this guy has a lot of potential. What I also like, there is a part of this collection when we have like trompe-l'oeil reversed. So trompe-l'oeil, which is to imitate the three-dimensional look when it's actually flat. So here we have the three-dimensional look, which is turned back, and it looks like two-dimensional, like the part of the clothes sticks to the background, which is kind of interesting. Of course, there's a lot of Margiela influence. There is some Helmut Lang visual influence. There is some Raf Simon's inspiration in this collection. There are some.
I see Balenciaga written all over it.
Exactly. And classical Balenciaga as well as Nicolas
As Demnas. Yes, there's a mix. Balenciaga has a very strong aesthetic, very strong colorways. They go around it for years, and that's what I see there. But I must agree with all the ones that you said as well. Yes, it's all there.
But it's still, I feel like Jan, he's very young. He's been doing that for 4 years already. He is at the very beginning of his career. I think he has potential. I would definitely like to see more of his evening wear translated into the streetwear or merged with the streetwear, or maybe he would skip the streetwear and go in the direction of something totally different. He's got a point. He's got his own aesthetic. He's trying to do something new. Not successfully yet, but it's not a bad collection. It's a good collection. It's very promising. So what do you think?
First of all, I put my rail back on. She needs to be there, she said. But yes, again, I mean, you nailed it again. Yes, Černý is definitely the best of the batch. The reason is he's very professional. He knows what he's doing. He's very ambitious, you can tell. He's very driven. And, there's designers that are driven, but they don't do much for themselves, just the PR marketing and the halo around themselves. What he seems to be doing, he really puts a focus on his evolution as a designer. So, the collaborations, he started collaborating with Cara recently. I'm not sure if you know. So he's going to do the fur line for them. he's really trying to progress as a designer, and he's doing it very systematically, step by step, which I actually admire, because this is the way to go about it. I wrote reviews on him again, and I must agree, yes, he's very good at getting the zeitgeist, but I'm asking myself a question: is this still the zeitgeist? I think it's not. I think that the streetwear zeitgeist of the kind of ugliness made into beauty or pretending to be beautiful is over. I think it has been over for some time now, and now it's definitely over. And what I'm afraid about in his persona as a designer is that he got a bit stuck in this position. He got a bit stuck there. On one hand, it's very good that he's been doing what he's doing, and he's there, and he doesn't really stray away, because this is very important for the designer. You can make 5 different collections, but it's still you, and that's what makes you unique and authentic. So on one hand, this is really good. On the other, I'm a bit scared he's stuck there, and he doesn't. There's no evolution of him as a as you said, he's still young, so maybe that's the catch. Maybe when he goes with the age and he progresses more, it will show in his collections as well. But what I'm afraid of really is that, behind every brand there's a designer, and designers are only human beings. So through their fashion and through their collection, you can see the evolution of design of the designer as of a human being. Mental evolution, emotional evolution, psychological evolution, sociological evolution. And with him, I have a feeling like I've been looking at this for some time already. Like it's been the same over and over again. The collection itself is smart, as you said, and you can absolutely feel the house there, because what Virgil is doing in LVMH is very similar to what Gesquier is doing there. So it has one very similar aesthetic. So of course he's been in it already, and now he's been even more in it because he's been there in the center of it, and the aesthetic is there. But even within the collection, if you notice, there's a good colorway of the Bordeaux with the patterns, as you said, the 3D patterns. A very clever work with the pattern, which I must say, very clever work with the pattern. Very nice work with the silhouette, which he can do. The pants with the cut, the kind of fragmented sleeve tops and jackets. But then there's fringes out of place, just as I said before, fallen off Mars, out of nowhere. We've seen fringes everywhere. Fringes were everywhere already. Why the need to put it there? And then the fringes are in leather and they're thick, and then you see them in this peculiar green color, just out of place on a shirt. And to me, it's like, maybe if he played around with the patterns and, as we said before, rework that one element of it, it would be enough. It would be enough, because there's a strong work with the silhouette, there's strong work with the dimensions of the clothes, there's strong work with the colors and patterns, but to me it strays in too many directions, and yet it still has one side, guys, which we've seen before. So for me, Czerny, huge potential, and maybe if he moves a bit from this, if he detaches a bit from this, which was successful for him and it worked for some time, he probably needs to realize it may not work forever. And so this is something which for me is a small exclamation mark. But otherwise, as you are saying, it was a highlight for me as well. And I think he actually has a big potential, and also he has the potential to make it big in the world because of his ability to sell himself as well. It's very important these days. But also his ability to kind of extract all the things needed for being successful in this field. So yes,
I believe because he's so young at this stage of the game, all the designers, even those really talented, they are trying usually to accommodate all the ideas that we have at the moment. We don't know how to edit it. Just process of editing is really needed. So this is probably why some of it's not consistent. But it's not the weak point of this. As you said, he's very ambitious. So I feel like this is the right moment for us, for him to prove us that he's ambitious and he's driven and he knows where he's going. And he knows that he needs to switch to also lift it up, go to the higher level, be more advanced in everything. And first of all, most of all, be really adult, right? So this is like the end of the boy era. He's already grown-up designer. He has already a kind of a portfolio built. So we need a new direction for him. But I see, and you know what I really like about him personally, and I've seen so many designers who were, were collaborating or being a left hand or right hand of the more experienced designers of half a year, and this is the highlight of their career. And they just do this and they claim this is the claim to fame. I haven't seen him talking much about Virgil. It's more like he is really dedicated and focused on his own brand.
Yeah, he's there to learn, and that's the right way. Absolutely.
It's done. It's over. He's now on his own way. The most important brand in his life is Jan Černý. So I cross my finger for Jan Černý. I'm really looking forward to see his next collection. This one is pretty good, actually. I would like to say. I like the collaboration also. The ability to collaborate is really also rare, right? So you can join jewelry designer, you can do the shoes with the shoes company, you can do the knitwear with the knitwear company. It's fantastic that he's able to provide each of them with something.
Absolutely.
Jan Černý. So he has already aesthetic, but this aesthetic, as we agreed, needs to develop. Okay.
Yep.
If we are pointing, we should go to Laformela. Laformela now.
Laformela, very famous duo, which has been around for some time. With Laformela, it's just, for me, I still try to discover the brand for myself. For me, they are absolutely, there's a huge potential for making fashion that is timeless, that has opinion, and you can really wear it. There were pieces in the collection that I would buy myself. I actually own a few pieces of Laformela because it fits my closet and it fits who I am and my aesthetics. But then, I must say that sometimes I felt like I'm having a deja vu. Like I honestly thought that I'm looking at Bottega Veneta, which is absolutely something that they should avoid. There's been pieces that if they stuck to the good pieces, like I'm not sure if you really dug deep, but I went through all the looks, and there's these dresses with these tight sleeves and the skirts with the tight sleeves. Have you seen those? Or there's this combination of the green wool, I guess it's a wool, it looks like a wool to me from the photo, with the leather, very nicely cut, beautifully made, timeless, a bit Balenciaga-ish, but not really. Honestly, really nice, streamlined, clean pieces. And then you see these quilted skirts, which is absolutely Bottega's visual, merchandising, visual processing, their aesthetic. You see these square shoes that are so typical for Daniel Lee as well. And for me, I don't want to say they copied them or they were really inspired by them, but I would say it would be a huge coincidence if this wasn't the case. Also, the lookbook, maybe it's a problem of a styling, not with the quilted skirts. They're too explicit for me. But the rest of the pieces, if there was a different styling, if there was a different mood, this again reminded me a bit of Tyrone Lebon's aesthetic, of their aesthetic of the clean, kind of rough and rugged and harsh minimalism, sexy and a bit dark and a bit futuristic. So the weakest side of the collection, which could have been really brilliant, was playing it too much again on the zeitgeist, which is the moment is Bottega moment. I mean, we can all say no, but Bottega is having a huge moment, and they have the right to have it because they're doing it the right way. But I see many designers citing this aesthetic way too much, and it's to their disadvantage, because if they stuck to their own codes, maybe it would turn out much better. So I'm really curious what you'll have to say about this.
You know, I also, it's not just La Bottega, the Bottega Veneta that they referred to. I also say, like, you know, this trench coat. First, you mentioned this green dress, which is finished here with the leather. It has leather levels, and then it has a roll finish here.
Yes.
First of all, I'm curious why. Why do they want to achieve this? What this contrast is for? What do they want to achieve? It doesn't look good. It's not modern. The dress itself could be really nice, but it have to be. I would finish it. I would leave it a row cut all over. So this is something, but this is a small details. What I see, like this trench coat. The one of the trench coats reminds me the trench coat from Chanel collection, like 4 or 5 seasons ago. 5 years ago. There are a lot of small signs that refer you to the other designers, which is not good. On the other hand, what we are trying to say is that the starting point of the collection, at least what I get from the press review, is the textile they are using, of the high quality wool and cotton with some membrane, which is patented by Czech company. So the starting point of the collection is the material. But then what you are doing with that, it's,
yes.
There are some moments that I'm really confused, like there is this cut out top, which is revealing more than it's covering. My point, when when you are taking away the huge part of the garment and you leave it open, and you don't replace it with anything else, what do you get? You usually get the hole, and it's not the glowing hole. So what's the point? What's the point of having this?
It's the laws of physics. It's the laws of physics.
Yes.
You get a hole.
Oh, come on. How can you?
No, I get your point. I absolutely get your point. And again, you're nailing something which I did not. I mean, you always find the stuff that you compliment me and I compliment you. Now you're saying things that I actually felt about the collection, but I couldn't verbally put it together. Now you're doing it for me. Absolutely. The work with materials is chapeau, heads off. This is how you go about it. The wool, really natural materials, and then the sophisticated new daring materials like the membrane one, which probably belong to future, and thank God for that. Absolutely mind-blowing. And then why the need to make the trench coat that looks a bit like Chanel, and now to me it looks like, the problem is, if you are one of the people who buy, for example, I buy a lot of Bottega, so I wear the stuff and I see how it's done. I see the cuts, I see the shapes, I see how the sleeves are finished, I see the little details, which are not really usually like the normal, like the common people will not notice it. But if you have it on you or you touch the garment every day, you see it. So this is why I detect it even more, because I'm very familiar with the garments. And this is why there's so much potential. It's a great collection. The concept is really good. The work with material is really good. And then you kill it with something which really screams something which is so overexposed these days, because it's really everywhere. It's not a reference that it's hidden and it's under the radar and just few insiders know about. This is something that's really relatively popular these days. So why risk this? Why risk this? And this is something. I feel something which is the downfall of all the collections I was reviewing, and we're actually off to the last one soon. But before we go there, I actually wanted to say that this is my sentiment. I always praised our designers, because I really, that's a problematic. I'm really where I'm home, the local design, and I always praise them, and I still praise them, and I always used to praise them for being authentic and not spoiled by the big fashion world, and using their own fascinations and their childhood memories and really specific aesthetic visual codes. And what to me is more and more present in their collections is trying to be worldly and trying to be like the big brands, and trying to really impress the audience with being in and cool and up to date, and exactly as you said in the beginning, over intellectualizing their collections instead of being themselves and being original and just getting out and letting out who they really are. And this is really something which is more and more present. With each year, this is growing more and more. And maybe with this whole crisis, what's going to happen is that they will realize that the best is just to be themselves and forget what's happening out there. You know, speak to the local clients, speak to your clients, and you know, use your own codes.
Clients international are driven by something that is unique. So if they see something that is real, which is unique, with no references to the other existing brands, they will buy it, they will come for it, they will know
absolutely
what Laformela stands for. And I feel like this is the couple of designers, Boslav and Anthony. They are clever guys, they are clever, smart, they have over 10 years of experiences so far, and you can sense it, you can see it, because it's also well executed in terms of tailoring. It's a pretty good tailoring.
Absolutely, and I can say that because I wear the stuff. Absolutely immaculate tailoring, which is world-class tailoring, and I assign to that for sure. So yes, the garments are very nicely made.
So I feel like it's easy to save this collection by, again, editing it. Let's keep some of the silhouettes which are an obvious reference to, as we said, to the brands we've already mentioned, and just let's stick to something that is unique and original. And that's absolutely enough. The collection doesn't have to be enormous in terms of a number of silhouettes.
Absolutely.
Perfectly done, isn't that? This is also the way. Yes. This is what the word is actually what we need right now, because we need to reorganize the system. It's reorganizing anyway. So it's
reorganizing itself. Thank Lord.
So we either are part of this, or we are just, waiting for what's happening. We'll just adjust. So it's better to be a part of it and just participate right now. And I feel like the formula, they can do it. They can definitely do it.
Absolutely. So off Form 3D, which is our last one on the list for this week. Now I'm very curious, again, as always, what you have to say about this. But just note for the viewers, I'm really curious about Peter, because some of his things is really brilliant the way he thinks. So what do you think about this concept?
I feel like the concept is absolutely brilliant. It's up to date, right? Doing the made to measure, made to order. It's what we need right now. It just, let's cut off the concept of the oversized collection, which is also reduced before it goes to retail space, but it's still a lot. And it's not a choice. It doesn't create a choice. It's just an imitation of choice. We don't have that much choice because we see there are too many stuff that are quite similar to the other brands, high end, low end, in the middle of the range. This is fabulous. I like the concept that you actually see the design, you decide that you want to do it, the body is being scanned, so it's gonna adjust to your body, it's gonna work like a glove, right? It's gonna glove. I believe so. This is the concept is very good. What we see in the movie at the moment, there are not that many clothes that prove that concept yet. So I would like to see a bit more, because what we say, and it's a very good, what they're saying, that we don't need paper, pencil, scissors to design. That's true. But what we need is talent, brain, sensitivity, I don't know, intelligence, right? This can't be replaced, at least at the moment, by artificial intelligence. So AI won't do the proper design. So I'd like to see more of the creative part, and I would like to see who's standing behind this concept. Less of this stuff, which is, there's not much stuff there in this movie.
No, and it's also very fragmented. It's presented, the presentation of it is very fragmented. Yes, absolutely. If I may just, enter this, I think it's absolutely amazing how they want to show the process of creation of the garment, which is, for many people, is a mystery. They will some people will buy thousands of garments and they will never know how these garments were made. Mm-hmm. So it opens up a topic of the actual process and creation of the garment with this technology, which, as you said, is very smart and very, very, very entertaining as well, because you really need clothes that fit you perfectly. Actually, that's the dream of every designer and tailor, to create a garment that fits the wearer perfectly. This is why at the really good companies where you get your suit done, made to measure, they measure you 5-6 times and you go there for 6, maybe sometimes even 7 probes, you know. So the jacket really lives on you and lives with you. So now the people have a chance to see the process behind it, how it's done with the newest technologies, and also the concept of digging deeper, because this is about digging deeper. I really love, because this actually what it actually states is, let's not be just superficial about fashion. Let's not buy jackets or t-shirts with big logos that are shabbily made. Let's actually think about how the garments are done and let's get them done perfectly, which is amazing. Opening these topics to public, that's fashion education to me. So what they're really doing is not just doing fashion, they're doing fashion education as well. I was lacking, and what I was missing was the presentation itself. The authors, please correct me if I'm wrong, and I love to be corrected when I'm wrong. It seems like not maybe, but it is the case. I love to be corrected. If it's done in cash-only studios, again, it looks like that. You know, there's a cash-only studios in Prague, which is amazing and it's great. But every second lookbook, it's done there on these chairs, and then it all looks the same. So the downfall of this, and maybe it wasn't cash-only, but it was something very similar. There we go. Again, the same aesthetics. Mm-hmm. Again, using the same visual codes. I honestly have a feeling like I'm looking at the same stuff over and over and over again, like it's a Groundhog Day, you know, like it's happening to me all the time. So what I was missing here was also, let's make it really, you know, it could have been done really futuristic, like almost like alien type presentation, clean and very to the point. So that was the downfall of it, but I see huge potential there as well, because obviously they want to play with the topic. They want to play with it in a different way. And yeah, I would love to see and try it actually on. That's what it made me want to go and see the garments and see how it really looks and if it really fits that well, you know. So it also kind of makes you curious about the whole thing. So yeah, for me,
you know,
that would be probably
to ask, like, for example, how much the final result will cost. Yes, how much will it
Yes, absolutely.
This is very interesting. What kind of materials are we using? Is it all artificial, or is it like cotton or silk or whatever you just need and you can work with it? So just getting the bunch of interesting looking cosmopolitan young people is a good choice as well. But if we are taking them, let's actually use them for creating some visually striking picture. And this what is missing. There's nothing new in the way of presentation. There's nothing modern, and there's nothing really truly exciting. What's really missing in most of these collections, except for Jana Černého, this is the excitement factor. I want to be turned on by fashion, right? As I said many times, this is the what I'm looking for is the fashion that makes me go wow, right? That I would like to be crazy about. At the moment,
yeah, get some emotion. It's about having an emotion from it. Yes, absolutely.
Storytelling, and the storytelling needs to be right. So you just can't come with, you know, the random choice of highbrow words that proves nothing, that tells no story. Then you shouldn't go out of your comfort zone, but you shouldn't just stick also to your comfort zone.
Yeah,
something really personal, really unique, and thought through. This is really most of the time missing so far. It's also a missed opportunity of form, but they are young. I believe this is the very first stage of their careers. So let's cross fingers and see what's going on with them.
Peter, don't you think, and that's a question for you a personal question, which will go live
Wow.
for you. Don't you think this is also a result of the accumulation of the fashion crisis? Like this is the peak of it, because, you know, obviously all these collections were done before the Corona crisis, but the crisis was kind of in the air already. But I feel like it's a mirror of the times we live in. Like, can it be different? That's my question. It could be different, but can it be different? I actually think it's in a context of what's happening in the fashion, of fashion being too superficial, too first plan, too much about Instagrammable looks, too much about selling the collections and selling them out fast, too much about unsustainable fast fashion. And I think that, yes, all these people that we just reviewed, all these designers are trying to be maybe something more, but they are definitely influenced by what's going on in the fashion, and all these collections reflect it. So maybe if you review this, if God will be so nice to us and we will review this again, if we review this again in a year, maybe we'll be talking absolutely differently about this, you know, because they will also reflect to the system, you know, disintegrating, and they'll probably need to find new ways how to go about this. So just my question is, because I actually felt like you were talking and I say, can it be different? Can it really be different? It could, but I'm not sure.
But you know what? We mentioned at the very beginning of our meeting today, Margiela. We need a rebel like Margiela desperately. We need more rebels like Margiela. We need Martin to come back to the game as well.
Yes.
We need people who just don't want to adjust, who doesn't want to, their dream is not to go with the flow. This is the major problem. Everyone wants to be, as you said, international acclaimed, recognized, traveling, selling in the various second-rate multi-brand stores. This is the point. They already think, oh, this is how the international career looks like. No, the designer career starts with the concept that you are 100% sure is yours, unique, and what the world needs. So if you are like Martin Margiela, smart, clever, and an artist, just stick to it for 20 years. You execute it perfectly, and then you made one mistake by selling your business to the corporate structure, and you step away from it. This is the only way it works. So that's why I really appreciate designers like this. But where are they now? How many designers like this we have? Not that many.
No one, because all the good ones left. When you just think about Albert Alba or Stefano Pilati's doing his own thing, you know, they could not. I mean, the real ones couldn't bear the pressure anymore, and because they're so strong in their vision, and because they do it for the passion for the fashion and for the art, they couldn't be part of this thing that's happening these days. And kudos for that. I mean, I love that about them. And I absolutely agree. We need more rebels. We need more people with a strong vision, and we need more people that are just doing their own thing no matter what, because this is very important. And you know, again, the words I need, you sometimes fill in for me, that the words I'm looking for and I cannot express, but you told me, and you said that what you need from fashion, or what makes you feel right about fashion, is the emotion, that you get excited about it. And this is absolutely how I can describe me. Knowing something is good according to my own rules is when I'm like, oh my God, this is brilliant. And this is, oh my God, I need to have it all.
Exactly.
Unreal, brilliant. And it's just the emotion I get from the clothes is transcendental. Like, it's something you cannot describe. And the problem I'm having with all of these, I get no emotion from them. There's rarely a collection these days where I get excited or I have emotion from. And so you know, the fashion is not just about, we both know, it's not just about the garments. It's about the whole presentation. It's about the vibe. It's about the people who work in the brand. It's about how they carry themselves, how they present themselves. It's about the small nuances. So it's a very complex thing. And I feel like these designers that we have, some of them have all the boxes checked somehow, but it still doesn't work, and there's no emotion from it. So, and it's probably because it's a plan. So maybe less planning and more natural improvisation, natural, just creation, just being themselves and being natural.
I feel like, probably because we are dealing with a very young generation of designers like now. So we might, even researching for inspiration, we might have passed what happened with the Belgian fashion. There was no such a thing like Belgian fashion before Antwerp 6 and Margiela.
Yes.
But they were not created by following the mainstream or trying to adjust the system. They just created something they believed in. They came to first London to show it. They found the buyers who wanted to represent them. And this is the beginning of the story. This is the I feel this very simple way how to start your business and how to start your career in fashion business. We have already somehow missed, it's lost this connection with, we're actually missing what I feel strongly. We're missing designers. Designers were replaced by the creative director or art directors.
And stylists. Right. And as I said, stylists cannot be making garments forever because stylists are there to give them context, not the shape. And that's exactly what you said with Virgil Abloh. For me, and I'm sorry to say that, is someone I'm not interested in at all. He speaks to a very certain specific audience. I'm not his audience. And for me, the lack there is the craftsmanship, the knowing of the nuances, the really just knowing the craft. That's what they're missing. Stylists don't know the craft. They know how to make it look somehow, but the craft is missing. I'm not saying stylists are not important. They're very, 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 very brutally important, but they cannot be making clothes. And this is the problem. So, yes, as you're saying again, we need to go back to the roots, and this is probably what's happening. And so I'm very curious about the next week and the new batch, because I think it could be a bit more interesting and exciting. And I will be curious again to hear what you have to say. I'm not be wearing my Anna Koronina.
Oh, we need to dress up more.
Next week. But we will do something different.
Sure, absolutely. I have whole collection ready for show. I have no place to go and show up my exactly perfectly suiting some fancy events wardrobe. So next week I'm gonna
absolutely.
Be the only thing you have to excuse me is my haircut, which is actually sponsored by COVID-19.
You're too handsome for this anyhow, so you can sleep at night.
So you have to say it once again and once again and over and over again.
Great. So see you next week.
Yes, but you know what? I was expecting we should be a bit more bitter. We should be more negative. I'm really missing that.
We cannot scare them. We cannot scare them on a first one, on a first go.
The warning. So this is gonna be kind of scary stuff. So be aware.
A warning to all of you who are following next. This time we were loving and nurturing and so mild.
We're waiting for your feedback. So if you hate us, don't be afraid to express it, because the more you hate us, the better we are paid. So don't forget it. Okay, Eva, thank you very much. It was lovely to talk to you again.
Thank you, Peter. It was a pleasure as well. And let's hope that
I'm gonna get turned on next week.
Yes, absolutely.
I need really climax. I need a fashion climax, and I'm expecting this. I crossed my fingers that the next bunch of like 6 collections that are coming up week are going to be truly exciting. At least 50% of them should be outstanding. This is my demand right now.
I'm hoping for your fashion climax for next week. See you.
Gonna join me in that. So
see you
next week.
Ciao.
Bye. Zdravím naši přátelí.
Bye.
Bye.